Hello, my name is David Rudy, and today I will be presenting on digital literacy. It's hard to think of something that could be more impactful for educators today in 2020 in light of COVID 19. I'd like to begin by starting with some art and asking the question, who painted this, right? It's always good to start with something visual, considering we're going to be thinking about texts, again, such a visual medium. So if you want to take a second and just look at this image, maybe in your mind, try to guess, try to think if you have seen this or haven't seen this, who painted it, actually who graffitied it. And it comes to us from an artist or artists that he or she may be named Banksy. If you have Google and have never heard of Banksy, and if Google right now as you're watching this, please do Google this. If you don't take anything away from what I'm saying about anything, please know that Banksy is doing some phenomenal, he or she or they is doing some phenomenal work. The reason I say he or she is there is no one is actually certain who this artist is. There's some anonymity involved in all this. What made me think about this graffiti, this image, was the way in which we consume text, right? We can see in that image that he has her hand on her hip, she has, his hand on the heart, but yet it's that phone, that screen time, that is sort of maybe consuming what they're thinking about and what they're doing about it. And I want you to think about the way you consume text. Now, I know for myself, I do take in more information and more text now through my smartphone, through my laptop, through devices than I ever have before in my life. And it's changing. And we as educators need to acknowledge that, I believe. It simply is not just pen paper form. Now, I like reading my anthology of short stories as much as the next person, but sometimes it's important for us to remember that the way in which our students, the way in which ourselves consume text is changing. So I want to give you 4 tools right now, 4 different ways that you can meet your students and their digital literacy needs. One's Common Lit. That's the one I use the most. I use that with a tremendous amount of fidelity. I'll talk a lot about that throughout the presentation, what that sort of means. That idea that if you're going to probably start something, you need to stick with it, and kids will sort of follow your lead. Reading Plus, which my district does pay for, which I really like. ReadWorks is an awesome tool. I do not use it as much in the secondary education classroom, but I think it could be very useful for pre-K through 2nd grade. And then vocabulary.com, which I think is the preeminent tool that you can use when it comes to digital literacy. All of these could be used at a pre-K through 2nd grade level. I make that distinction because it does seem like a lot of online education is moving towards this notion, this idea that obviously our pre-K, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade learners have different needs than 3rd through 12th grade in terms of their ability to manage different content. At least that's just what I'm seeing in our recent uptick in online work. Now, let's address the big fear right off the bat. Again, that idea of dehumanization, that we are going to lose a certain connection with our students if we embrace or use digital literacy platforms. Also, there's the big if a student has a lack of access, that is going to make some of this stuff challenging. If they're not able to get onto these 4 different websites or 4 different web platforms, they aren't going to be probably possible to use. It's always worth remembering, right, that online worksheet's still a worksheet, that that we need to define purpose, and that we should really never give up as educators the idea of discussion. I'm very enamored lately with Flipgrid. I think it's going to be a great way to help students have discussion online, but this should not replace just good old-fashioned discussion. And it doesn't have to replace pen and paper and book, hard copy literacy, right? But again, as the way we consume text changes, we need to be mindful of that. I want to talk about that first. This is tool number 1, commonlit.org. It's free. I use this tool with fidelity. I use it every week in my secondary education classroom. It is something that I have found to be very impactful because I've seen what happens at the end. And I'm going to exit out of this. That graphic's a little small, but it provides a tremendous amount of impactful data in terms of what Common Core standards students are hitting. So let's take a second here, and I will show you my Common Lit teacher account. When I look at this, I see I have 19 assignments I have to grade. I see that on RI.1, standard RI.1, right, which if we go back here, we see that is to determine an author's point of view. I'm sorry, RI.1 is to cite our second standard here, is to cite textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly, as well as making inferences, versus Common Core Standard RI.6 to determine an author's point of view or purpose in a text and explain how it's conveyed in the text. So if I go to my Common Lit platform, I can see that at least clearly to me, students are having more success on questions posed about RI.1. RI.6, which is why I included that in this presentation, feels to me as an educator to be more of a half and half scenario where, again, these are not students, these are questions posed to students, are not performing as well on that as they are on this. So that opens up an awesome opportunity for me to go back, to do some reteaching, to do some mini lessons, and to make sure that what I'm seeing in terms of the data is impactful. Next one, Reading Plus. Reading Plus is an amazing tool. I do not want to take a ton of your time talking about it because there's a cost associated with it. Common Lit is free. Reading Plus is not, and you buy licenses. According to Reading Plus, they do have some awesome advice. It's all about eye movement. They call it the invisible factor. So if I'm reading a book, right, and I take my note card and I don't allow the learner to see the other text, right, I kind of go through, it's sort of that. You can see at that bottom image that the goal with Reading Plus is to make the text more manageable and sort of help students focus their eye movement on text. It's a really neat site. Let me briefly again show you my kind of teacher account with Reading Plus. Tons of great data, some silent reading fluency gains, student usage, reading level gains. It seems like it's a little bit more like Common Lit. Sorry, I'm going to not show you that part because there's some real students. With some really, really good data. All right, next one. ReadWorks. ReadWorks is one that you could begin using right now, today. It's free. It is not as data-driven as Reading Plus or Common Lit. There's not different question sets. They do align to the standards. They do talk about how they are, but they don't necessarily provide that information to you in a kind of handy-dandy graph. There is some amazing K-12 material on ReadWorks. Now, here's the basic premise with ReadWorks. You can take the same article and you can differentiate it by Lexile level, pass it out to differentiated groups, and it looks the same. There's just less text, and the text is a little bit more Lexile looped. Let me show you a good ReadWorks example here. This is a day in kindergarten passage that I'd pre-picked. It comes at a 280 Lexile, I'm going to play you the audio here.
A Day in Kindergarten.
It's a little
By
computery
Reed
sounding, right?
In
It's got a
Keisha's
little of that
kindergarten
sort of
classroom, the
sound
day
to it.
started
You can
with
assign it
reading
digitally.
time. The
Printing it
children
off has
sang
been the
a
way I've
song
used it in the
each
past.
day.
You can kind of
They
create a
also
list of
talked
material.
about the weather. Next, they had show and tell. Today Tim talked about his toy spaceship. He passed it around for everyone to see. Then it was reading time. The letter of the week was D. Miss Clark read a book about
You
dolphins.
can see that there are 86
The
words.
children
It's
had
at a
time to
280
draw
Lexile level. It's
pictures.
considered
Keisha drew a picture of her favorite
280.
animal.
The
It was a
vocab, the
dolphin.
standards, meeting and weather. You can go to the vocab questions, work on the word meeting, the word weather. There's a definition, there's examples, there's images. Let me go back here to the passage. I want to show you some more material. Here's one on Thanksgiving Day, 61 words. Here's another one, a day at the pumpkin farm. President's Day. There are tons, hundreds of really amazing, interesting passages that you can use through ReadWorks. It's free. Last one. By far, in my opinion, my professional opinion, the best digital literacy tool I believe I've used is vocabulary.com. And it's kind of hard to question, especially when I work with secondary English students in their writing, that oftentimes they can't think of the right word to express their thoughts, right? What's great about vocabulary.com is it's very fun. It's list-based. It's badge-based. Students earn badges, awards as they're going through it. It's completely free. There's a really awesome app that can be downloaded onto a phone or iPad or device. It's really great. There are rankings within classes, rankings within schools within the state, rankings nationwide. They host a really fun vocabulary bowl. And it's a really easy, accessible way for students to play games with words and interact with words. There are some really great kindergarten, first grade, pre-K lists on vocabulary.com. There are also lists, again, K through 12, that you can link to specific pieces of content. Not to belabor the point, but again, if I'm teaching to a novel like The Great Gatsby, I can find really easy, accessible lists on there that can help reinforce students with their reading goals there. So again, the 4 sites. We have commonlit.org. We have ReadWorks. We have Reading Plus, which does come with a cost, but is a great digital literacy tool, and the one that I would highly recommend that you check out and use with fidelity. Start it, use it a bunch, is vocabulary.com. Thank you very much for your time today. Stay safe, wash your hands, be kind, and again, I really do appreciate your time and my being able to present to you on some of the issues with digital literacy, but more importantly, some of the important tools that we can be using to keep a more digitally literate classroom here in 2020. Thanks much. Hope all's well.